Hi everybody, it's Dr. 𝖋𝖎𝖌𝍍𝖙 here talking to you about how chronic stress can lead to weight gain. When you're in a fight or flight situation, you need to mobilize all resources to help you survive. And your body will do that by certainly pulling all the sugar that's available from your stored glycogen and from the muscle stored sugar and other sources. Bring that to the muscles that need to work in order to keep you alive, to help you fight or flee. But it'll also break down fat, and it'll break down muscle even if need be. And thinking about that, if it's breaking down muscle, you're going to have less of a lean body mass. So the lean body mass is your muscle, and that helps keeps your engine burning lots of calories, lots of energy. So if your engine starts to shrink, you have less of an engine in order to burn those calories with. So if your muscle starts to break down because of chronic stress, you can see how your body composition is going to start to shift away from being a higher muscle to fat ratio. Okay, so the gaining weight part though also pertains to increasing your fat composition, your fat deposition in your body. And so with chronic stress, we have an increase in cortisol. Cortisol is the stress hormone that we rely on to keep us in the fight on a chronic level. If we're in a sudden threat situation, we'll use adrenaline. But when that threat continues over a longer period of time, our body will start to produce more cortisol, which is what allows us to continue to deal with fight or flight situation or a chronic stress situation. And like I said, it'll break down the sugars to be able to burn them. It'll break down the fats to burn them. It'll break down muscle to burn them. But every time we're in a stressful situation, what you'll typically find is that you'll have a peak stress where your blood sugar is at a maximum, and then you'll recover and put that away. You'll store it in the cells. So your body will release it all into the bloodstream, make it available, and then it'll store it. So your insulin levels usually go up after the stressful event. But if we keep going through cycle after cycle, like arguments or fights or stressful periods at work, and then you recover, that peak of release of blood sugar, mobilization of energy sources, and then the storage of that, what you usually see is a shift away from a healthier body composition of higher lean body mass like muscle versus fat, and we shift away, we start to burn off that muscle and we increase the fat composition. Part of that also relates to cholesterol being mobilized. Cholesterol has been demonized by the pharmaceutical industry because they want to have something that they can attack, they can make an enemy out of it. But the reality is you have cholesterol that is the part that goes out to the body, away from the liver, to utilize that cholesterol because it's a precursor to all of your hormones. Okay? Cholesterol is the parent of all your hormones, including cortisol, which is for chronic stress. So if you're in a chronic stress situation, you need to make more cortisol. In order to make more cortisol, you need more cholesterol. So your liver will mobilize and increase the amount of LDL cholesterol, which has been demonized as the bad one. But if you're in chronic stress, you need LDL cholesterol to make more cortisol in order to survive. Without it, you can't. And the HDL cholesterol, which has been deemed the good cholesterol, that's the one that brings cholesterol from the periphery, from the bloodstream, back to the liver. So it's like a cycle. LDL brings it out, HDL brings it back in. What happens in chronic stress is LDL goes up because you're bringing that cholesterol out to be utilized to make more cortisol, and as also for energy. And you're bringing that HDL actually goes down because we don't want to bring it all back right now. So that ratio starts to shift. It's very important that you're aware of that when you go and look at your blood numbers and see, oh, my LDL is going up and my HDL is going down. There are many other factors that contribute to that, but chronic stress has that impact on LDL and HDL. Also, under chronic stress, cortisol increases in your bloodstream, and also your desire to eat more sugars and fats go up. Why? Because sugar and fat is the precursor to cholesterol. So when your cholesterol demand goes up, because your cortisol demand went up, you need to provide the resources to make more of that cholesterol, which is sugars and fats. So your appetite for that's going to go up, and lo and behold, you're going to have likely more of that energy available than you'll be able to utilize, because often our fight or flight situations today are more mental and emotional. More often than not, we're all up in our head. We're thinking about something, we're worrying about something, we're arguing with somebody, but that's all verbal. That certainly gets you riled up, but you're not running a sprint to burn it off. So that energy gets mobilized, and then your body says, okay, we got to put that away now. Now that the argument's over, we have to put that energy away, and put that often, unfortunately, stored as fat. And one of the realities of that chronic stress weight gain is that we develop what's called the apple shape weight gain pattern. And the apple shape, in Milwaukee here, we're familiar with the beer belly, and everybody's heard of what a thyroid inflammation, a thyroid growth looks like with the goiter, when your thyroid starts to grow in size. Well, in Milwaukee, we call it the Milwaukee goiter, which is actually the beer belly, right? But all joking aside, the deposition of fat in your abdominal region, called visceral fat, that is a byproduct of chronically elevated stress. So chronically elevated cortisol will lead to that fat being deposited in the abdominal region, more so than in the behind area, so in the gluteal area and the buttocks. So more often than not, you'll see people with abdominal belly fat increase, and that is the stuff that can lead to metabolic problems like diabetes or cardiovascular disease. So we don't want that. We don't want the problematic abdominal fat accumulation, because fat can become it is a place where we store toxins, and if that is hanging out around our organs, it's going to toxify our organs. The reason why it is deposited there, I understand, is that it helps our organs have quick access to those fats for utilization. But when we're starting to accumulate more and more and more and more, it's no longer a practical issue. Now it's just a chronic issue. And so it's no longer something that is actually serving us. It needs to be cleared out. And so getting that eliminated and getting the stress under control is super important. So now you can see between the muscle breakdown and the increased fat deposition that typically happens in that abdominal region, around the viscera, around the organs, that whole pattern shifts our body composition away from a lean one towards one overweight, where our lean body mass goes down and our fat composition goes up. So it's a very unhealthy trend as a result of chronic stress. I'd love to be able to help you with that, or point you to some lifestyle choices and changes that you can make to help you make that transition. We'd love to be your guide on that journey. Just click below if you'd like more information from our office. We'd love to help.